Alright, hello and welcome back to Ashgabat Cats. Let's play that. Today we're taking a look at Super Dodgeball for the Neo Geo. Of course, I've played through all the Neo Geo games every now and again, just playing around, seeing what games are good. I mean, of course, of all the well, I guess, is the Neo Geo really a console? But of all the consoles out there, I've always felt that the Neo Geo had the greatest, percentage of good games to games total. And so you boot up any random Neo Geo game, and you know you're in for a pretty good time. So let's give this a go. Now, I've heard of the Super Dodgeball series every now and again. There was a Game Boy Advance game released that kind of caught my fancy. This guy is so silly. You gotta go for... Oh, apparently they have color... Well, so fighting games usually have this thing where if player 1 chooses a character, then they look like a certain color. And then if player 2 chooses the same character, then they have a different color. But this is not necessarily a fighting game. Of course, it's on the Neo... Well, it's on the Neo Geo, so I mean, it's kind of in the DNA, I suppose. Oh. Now, how does one catch, hypothetically speaking? Oh, apparently that was the taunt button. so if you want to catch something, do not use the taunt button. Oh. Ay. Yeah, this is just one of those games that it's kind of a little unfair. I don't know. It's just one of those hard games. Oh my gosh. And then you gotta figure out how to do it, but it's just not gonna tell you anything really. I know it technically did a rules explanation, but you saw how the one guy was just... Oh, okay. So I guess the secret is to do Hadouken's sort of fighting game type moves. Now it's a little bit unfortunate that we seemingly have sacrificed our main guy. What's he doing? He's just giving up on life. Oh my gosh. How do I switch to someone else, please? Come on, Joji. Alright. just circling around taking pot shots. Is this even legal? Yeah, it always seemed kind of weird how, in these games, you could always pass to people who were out and then fight out. It's not necessarily a good strategy. It's not enough. I want more. Look at his team though. It's 3 battle-bred fighters. My team is one really cool guy, one guy who thinks he's cool, and one guy who really has no business being cool whatsoever. Now, I'll leave it to you to figure out which one is which. Game over. Well, maybe I just chose a bad team. So you never know. Let's try this again. So A button shoots. I got that. Also press A button to catch. Interesting. I didn't believe it because it didn't seem to be working, but... Wait a minute. A button is the pass to Oh, my buttons are mapped in the wrong order. Well, I guess this doesn't matter so much. D button to provoke. I see. Always a useful choice. Also, you can see some people are repeated, I think? Wait, can we not play as the team that just totally clobbered us? I don't think we can. But yeah, you see how the all-girl team and this team both have that same kind of girl. I mean, granted, they're recolored, but close enough, right? Yeah, what's the point of watching the how to play screens if you're not even gonna map your controls the same way? Oh, okay, there we go. So I think part of the trick is if we play as somebody who's crappy and then they die, then they can become one of our pawns and help Yikes. Oh, I see. That's how you pass. This is very fast-paced. I can't even talk while I play. That's how... Go for the kill. Yeah, I guess that was my mistake. I just chose a team that looked cool. But instead, I should have chosen a team that looked functional. You know, this is a lot more fun when you're overpowering the other guys rather than them overpowering you. So I guess that's like saying bullying is a lot more fun when you're the bully and not the bully. Because that's sort of what this game is. Oh, jeez. On the bright side, though, now he becomes my loyal pawn. And I can pass to him and take a shot. You are a waste of space. I love that quick dodge to my teammate. Come on. Maybe there's a Shoryuken type guy? Oh! It feels like a fighting game. In fact, it almost feels like King of Fighters, because you've got like the 3 players, and then they switch out when they die. Don't make me look foolish, empty heads. It's funny, because grammatically, that is proper English, but like, meaning-wise, that is just complete BS. Like, that doesn't make any sense at all. It is kind of crazy. It's technically a sports game, but it is set up very much like a fighting game. Now let's let some of my other guys have some fun. Now, I wonder if your other teammates are pseudo-randomized. But... now, how do I... apparently, you can fake them out with B button, which... or C button, which is kind of nice. It doesn't really seem to do much, but again, sometimes it's about the perception of doing stuff. It matters a lot more than actually doing stuff. I mean, if you ever worked an office job, it's like, the goal is not necessarily to work the hardest. It is to appear like you're working the hardest. Oh, gee. Oh, okay, that ball was meant for mine to grab, but I was just too stunned. Like, you know how in fighting games, how, like, frequently your character can just be, like, stunned? And it's just kind of like, that's so unrealistic. Nobody in the world would be that stunned for that long. But it's like, no, I just lived that. That is entirely fair. Entirely legitimate rules. Oh, come on. I see. So with special moves, even if you deign to catch it, you're still not in for a good time. All that passing. It was worth it just so we could, like, lightly pelt him in the face. Do I win in the time up? Yes! You win by default. The least satisfying of victories. I'm a dodgeball Yakuza. You got anything against that? If so, then I'm gonna have to kill you. Will you take Shinji onto your team? Well, maybe I should. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Oh, that's kind of sad. Even though the girl did the least. It was like my team. It's like these guys were with me from the start. But I think the idea is you go along and you just kind of pick up these cool people you find on the ground. And then eventually you get a team full of cool people. Unlike the team which you started out, which was one cool person and 2 halves of a cool person. And then I guess you fight, I don't know, probably robots or something. Alright, let's see what you got. Oh no, it's just you again. But you can... I don't know if faking actually works. Oh my gosh, was that a multi-hit? How come that nerd guy was not any good on my team when he was on my team? It's kind of crazy. We're having our own like one-on-one dodgeball duel. It's like there's an entire game of dodgeball being played here, but it's like, nope, it's you one-on-one, me versus you. Hey, that's cheating. Yeah, who do you think's gonna win, pal? Caught it like it was no thing. Come on. Oh, jeez. He beat me. That was in the one-on-one duel. He beat me. That is unfortunate. Oh, come on. Something tells me I'm not gonna win in a time over. Oh, good gosh. My dream team, carefully assembled from the remnants of trash bins from other teams, failed to win. Hey, you're not up to dodgeball? Is this like one of those fighting games where I can choose a handicap? No? Okay. Because why not? It's a shame you can't fight a team that you already beat, because otherwise I could just have 3 of the Pompadour guys. Now I don't know entirely why I chose this team, because it's like he wasn't all that good in the first place, but might as well have some holy crap. I was gonna say fun, but I'm having less fun now that they're doing all this stuff to me. Can't we go back to me fighting no-name teams and like just beating them? I see, so your catch is kind of like a counter or something from King of Fighters or something, where it opens up like a certain window of invincibility, but I mean, you are just going to lose out. Hey, now I get to do that to them. And it's just as cheap as when I do it. Nice. His solo bike. I also like how they pause the game slowly so he like walks to the other side. Oh crap. This sucks. Oh jeez. Well, I probably should have seen that one coming. You're not very exciting. Come back again when you're stronger. It's like, gee, thanks. You don't tell me how to play the game. It's like, how am I gonna get any stronger? I also like how you can just kind of flick through the buttons like, bloop. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. That's a name up there. Crap. Well, that's my new name, Ashgabat Ardgavark. Well, unfortunately, that was a game that looks a lot cooler than it is to play. Now, don't get me wrong, this looks like the coolest game of all time. But it also seems like the kind of game where you really have to play it like a half dozen times before you even have the basics down. Either that or maybe they have special moves, but it just, like, one thing I don't like is that the base attack is just so useless. It's like so easy to dodge. Now look at them, they're doing like special attacks all over the place. And they're doing like all this crazy stuff that looks awesome. But it's like they don't tell me how to do any of that. Oh, how to play. Press B to catch. Press A to throw. Haha, it's as easy as that. Then you actually go to play, and it's not as easy as that at all. Of course, I guess that's kind of like what it feels like when you try to get one of your friends to play Street Fighter. You're like, okay, A button's punch, B button's kick. Easy enough, right? And you start pulling all these special moves on them, and they're like, what the heck? How can you dodge? How can you block? How do you do anything? I guess in more ways than one, it really is like a fighting game. It also has that like sort of just learning curve. You know kind of how it is for fighting games. Now, with fighting games, you can kind of forget as you get better at the game, because a lot of fighting games, they kind of have the same sort of moves, Hadouken, Shurikens, whatever. But it's like, can you remember that time in the very beginning, very, very beginning, when you didn't even know how to do a Shoryuken? Now, Hadouken, I mean, you could do that in your sleep. Even a baby can do it. But like, a Shoryuken, that takes not a lot of talent, but the bare minimum of talent required to play a fighting game. But it's like, you don't have that talent when you start going, so it's a little tricky. And even getting a Hadouken, even getting like the timing right so you can do it consistently. And it's like, if you can remember that first time when you had to learn how to play a fighting game, then maybe you can empathize with my position right now, where I've got this awesome game, there's a lot of cool stuff happening, but I can't make any of that cool stuff happen for myself. And so that's kind of unfortunate. I don't necessarily like arcade games like that, and I don't think that's necessarily the way you should take your arcade games. Now, I'm not necessarily gonna fault this one, because it looks awesome, and it's on the Neo Geo, which is ripe with fighting games. You can probably assume that whoever's playing it is kind of vaguely familiar with fighting games. But I do feel like it's a little bit too high a bar for entry, maybe. And especially, too, because, like, Dodgeball, it's not necessarily the most competitive of setups here. Like, it's not exactly like a fighting game where it's like, pretty much you control everything, and it's like if you die, it's because you were not in control. But in this game, it feels a little bit loose, like you've got your team, but like 2/3 of your team is useless. So if your opponent gets a lucky shot, then it's like, well, that's it, you lost. Have fun losing, pal. I mean, yeah, if you manage to accidentally win 3 times in a row, then you can build up your own, like, super team, but yeah, I don't know. Still, demo scenes are nice. Well, on that note, this cat's got a scat.